the Israeli government shot more than 1,000 peaceful unarmed protesters in Gaza, killing hundreds of them. And on May 14th, at the height of that attack, you posted the following on Twitter. You wrote, quote, "This is a massacre," meaning the Israeli military shooting of Palestinian protesters. And then you wrote, quote, "I hope my peers have the moral courage to call it as such. No state or entity is absolved of mass shooting of protesters. There is no justification. Palestinian people deserve basic human dignity as anyone else. Democrats can't be silent about this anymore." Now, as your tweet suggests, the reason why I think that tweet got a lot of attention, I know the reason why it captured my attention, is because it's very rare to hear somebody in mainstream politics talking about, in such clear moral terms, denouncing the Israeli government's aggression and militarism that way. And it's particularly true for a New York politician, where the idea has always been that it is political suicide not to be unyieldingly loyal to the actions of the Israeli government and supportive of it. So I just wanted to ask you two questions about that positioning that you made. First is, did you decide that it actually could be politically beneficial to take that position, or did you believe that you needed to take that position as a moral imperative regardless of the political cost? And then more broadly, do you see a relationship between these kinds of foreign policy issues that don't get quite as much attention these days and the domestic issues that are the focus of your campaign and also of our politics?
Yeah, to answer your first question, I think that really where that came from for me is my background is as an educator, an organizer, and an activist. And I think I was primarily compelled on moral grounds because I could only imagine if 60 people were shot and killed in Ferguson, or if 60 people were shot and killed, in the West Virginia teacher strikes. The idea that we are not supposed to talk about people dying when they are, engaging in political expression just really moved me. And running for office, seeing like the silence around this issue has been, a little interesting to me. So a little bit about my background as well. As I mentioned before, my family's from Puerto Rico. And so Puerto Rico is in the United States. It is a colony that is granted no rights, that has no civic representation. And if 60 people were shot in protest of the United States negligence in FEMA and kind of keeping us on that island, I couldn't even imagine if there was silence on that. But also, I think that politically and domestically, I think that in the same lens that I've looked at it, people I think are separating the actions and the status of Palestinians from even like the greater, I think, geopolitics of the area. I think people are starting to just look more at the state, the humanitarian state of Palestinian people through a humanitarian lens. And, people say like in New York City, this is political suicide and so on. But also I had a lot of my own constituents thanking me for taking that position. And I have a very large, New York 14 is the most diverse district in America. We're very happy to have a lot of Jewish Americans that thanked me for my position. I had a lot of Muslim Americans. We have very strong Muslim populations in our district. And I don't even see this as a political issue, especially through the frame of that one incident, and especially coming from the background as an activist. I just think that we need to talk about these things, and we need to talk about the basic humanitarian rights that should be afforded to all people, including the freedom of political expression.